symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It's an everlasting
Use
flame.
the mic, Chris.
Oh,
There you go.
I'll be sorry. It is an everlasting flame for this community. It offers its warmth to those who are cold. It provides light for those who would see. It purifies and transforms this sanctuary into sacred space. This congregation into sacred community. May its flame burn true and high and strong. And now, please join me in the affirmation of covenant printed in your order of service, saying, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
It's often said that religion is about getting in touch with something larger than ourselves. For Buddhists, it's a larger awareness. For Christians, it's a larger love. For humanists, it's a larger nature in which we participate, the nature of the universe and of ourselves. Another way to imagine that something larger is to speak of transformation. Some speak of growing a larger soul. Others speak of seeing oneself or seeing humanity through a different lens that reveals a hidden horizon within us and opens us to new possibilities. Still others speak of becoming more fully who we are or what we are meant to be, or of fulfilling our potential. What I've noticed over the years is that these different ways of naming that something larger are not simply differences of cultural expression. We all participate in the same American culture, and yet each of us resonates more with one of these notions than the others. The larger awareness, the larger love, the larger self, the larger human potential. So it is not just an inheritance, an artifact of tradition, that we come to name that something larger in the way that we do. There's something about us as individuals that causes that resonance. When we feel that we've found a truer way of talking about that something larger that we want to be in touch with, it's because that way of naming it touches on a truth we feel deep within. An art theorist in ancient China, Xie Ho, spoke of 6 qualities of a good painting. The 6th one, after composition, color, line, technique, and reference to something in life, was spirit resonance. A good painting touches something in the person beholding it, produces movement, a resonance in the soul or the spirit. That's the sort of thing that we're dealing with when it comes to naming that something larger in religion. Something resonates with us. What causes that resonance? In their book, Please Understand Me, David Kiersey and Marilyn Bates tried to get at this question by understanding different human temperaments. Using the same material that Isabel Myers-Briggs and Catherine Cook-Briggs used to develop their well-known personality test, Kiersey and Bates distill Myers and Briggs' 16 personality types down to 4 temperaments. You might already know about the 4 measures used in the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Are you more introverted or extroverted? That is, when you need to rest and recharge, do you go off by yourself or do you seek company? Do you understand the world more by intuition, by standing back from it? or by sensing it directly, by getting involved in it? Do you make decisions more by thinking it through or more by feeling it through? And is it more important to you to reach a judgment, to check things off the meeting agenda, or to thoroughly discuss each item on the agenda in order to reach a shared perception? These 4 questions represent 4 polarities, 4 scales of measurement that generate the 16 types of Myers and Briggs. Kiersey and Bates found a way to group those 16 types into 4 temperaments. First, by dividing the intuitive stand back to understand it types from the sensing jump into it to understand it types. And then dividing each of those 2 groups in half using some other Myers-Briggs measures. Their 4 temperaments are intuitive feeling, intuitive thinking, sensing perceiving, and sensing judging. And for each of those 4 temperaments, they identify something that makes folks of that temperament feel most alive. And that's the part about their model I really like, because you can think about something, you know what makes you feel most alive. Now, can this scheme of theirs contextualize that a little bit for you and help you know where to go with it? So let me talk a little bit about those 4 temperaments that they identify, and you listen for yourself in these, okay? People of the sensing, perceiving temperament, they say, feel most alive when they have the freedom to act according to their own decision or impulse to action. When I think of this temperament, I think of a man I knew who was an artist. He liked to build sculptures, not mold out of clay or cut out of stone, but to build, construct out of raw materials or found objects. There was a lot of doing in his artistic process, not so much standing back to evaluate it, see the form is perfect and all of this. No, it was about being busy making it for him. And he was like that in meetings too. He didn't want to sit there talking. He wanted to go out and do something, try something, test something out. He wanted to do that before the rest of us even understood what we were talking about. Made him feel alive. For someone like this, the something larger, I think, must be participation. Some kind of immersion in and acting with the larger action of the world or the soul. Wisdom for such folks consists of participating. Gotta do when the Spirit says do. People of the sensing, judging type. That was sensing, perceiving. This is sensing, judging. That temperament, they feel most alive when they are acting in service to something larger. A sense of duty can be a strong motivation for someone of this temperament. Wisdom for such folks is acting in accord with a system or a structure, a practice or a right procedure. It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. Some say that you can see that Unitarian Universalism is descended from New England Puritanism if you attend one of our Social Justice Committee meetings and experience all the mutual admonition that goes on there. When the social justice team invites the congregation to work on, say, the Eighth Principle Project, it's the feeling that the church community will be leaning into our larger faith, acting in service to that something larger that gives the feeling of really being alive. Now, for the intuitive thinking temperament, wisdom is knowledge and skill. Folks of this temperament feel most alive when they know what to do and how to do it. Quite often they are called to professions as scientists or engineers, doctors or pharmacists, craftsmen or mechanics, professors or consultants, fields where there is an expertise to acquire and to practice. I think of the work we're doing for health and safety at our church, the sense of preserving knowledge and skill, or of expanding and advancing them, is the source of that deep feeling of being alive in that work. The fourth one, the intuitive feeling types, feel most alive when they have a sense of becoming, of growing or deepening or discovering more about their own nature and their larger self. These are the folks who really resonate with the notion of transformation. When I think of how this works, I think of a conversation I had years ago and many times with my actor and artist friend, Greg, who I've spoken of before. You know the kinds of philosophical discussions that young men in college have, and you know the intensity of identity formation and self-discovery that goes on in college-age folks. So many of our peers then were so passionate about it, so brave to assert what they were. We noticed that many times what they said they were was about something they did. Whether it was an art they pursued or a career they aspired to or something else that seemed to us not so much about being as about doing. The question we discussed was, what did it mean to claim an identity based on something you did? That's the sort of thing that folks of an intuitive feeling temperament do. They shift the lens to a different focus to reveal that something larger. And then they try to live into this new insight. And that can be a challenge for those around them who liked the lens the old way. But with the new lens, the intuitive feeling person feels more alive. Howard Thurman, the great African-American theologian who influenced many leaders of the civil rights movement, said, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Is transformation for everybody? In one way, transformation is for everybody. None of us is the same person we once were because we keep learning and growing our whole lives through. Yes, a core of us persists, but we gain greater clarity or perspective or knowledge or awareness of deeper meaning, of a deeper commitment to something, and something has changed in how that core of us moves and is in the world. If faith is a way of moving and being in the world, one could say that we become more true to the core of who we are, or we fulfill the potential that core represents, or we grow a larger soul. In that way, transformation is for everybody. In another way, transformation is not for everybody. Folks who come alive by becoming can go at transformation head on. But for most folks, transformation is more a byproduct of doing what makes them come alive. Having the freedom to act. Devotion to service. Acquiring knowledge or skill or understanding. Transformation as a byproduct helps us stay more alive if it's a healthy change. For each of Kiersey and Bates' 4 temperaments, there is a stumbling block, a temptation that may offer us an idol that diverts us from having life more abundantly. For the sensing, perceiving temperament, the longing for freedom to act may become enthusiasm for action. a pride in pure activity that disengages them from purpose. For the sensing, judging temperament, the longing to serve may become an enthusiasm for a way of serving, a pride in pure structure and form of practice that likewise disengages them from purpose. For the intuitive thinking temperament, the longing for knowledge and skill may become enthusiasm for knowing, a pride in pure knowledge that disengages them from the mystery of the cosmos. And for the intuitive feeling temperament, the longing for transformation may become enthusiasm for one particular episode of growth and a pride in, let's call it, graduation, that distracts them from their current experiences of or opportunities for growth, and so disengages them from the mystery of the soul. Purpose and mystery are essential to the sort of transformation that is for everybody. To be adrift without purpose or impervious to mystery is a kind of death in the soul that hinders your efforts to be your truest you, your most alive self, and it keeps you from having life and having it more abundantly. So may you each know with depth and clarity what makes you feel most alive. And may you go do it. For that is what the world needs. So may it be. Amen. Yeah, that felt good. Please join me in the closing words for extinguishing the chalice, and if Chris would come up and extinguish as we say, go out into the world in peace, have courage, hold on to what is good, return to no person evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the suffering, honor all beings. And may you know what makes you feel most alive, and may you go do it.